Hello and welcome back. This is a little bit different than what I normally post, but one of my greatest loves is baking. So I thought I'm going to give this whole baking on YouTube thing a try. So I'm going to make bagels, which we love in this household. Excuse me. So come on this little journey, this little ride. This ain't no professional kitchen, but it's a fun one, and that's what baking's all about. So I never pre-organize ingredients. I normally just grab it and go as I go along. But so you can hear me and I feel a bit more organized. I've grabbed what I need to a certain point. So we are making, as I said, bagels. I've weighed out the flour because I'm using this recipe here. Don't know if you can see that. It's just the everything bagels, which is the best sort. I'm using a new camera too, so forgive me if things are a bit skew. Technology is not my greatest strength. Okay, I digress. I forgot what I was saying. I've weighed out. Okay, so that's right. Now, it calls for 2 cups of bread flour, 2 cups of all-purpose flour. When baking, I'm all about weighing the ingredients. I just find it's more precise because you can do a cup, but there might be a little air pocket in there unless you like really vigorously tap it and flatten it. It's just easier to get the scales out. I mean, these are my scales. They're coffee scales because that's all I have at the moment. So I've weighed out some flour. I've done 240 grams of bread flour and 240 grams of all-purpose flour, plain. Do not do self-raising. I've then added 2.5 teaspoons of salt. I've just used cooking salt. Sometimes I use pink Himalayan salt. Today I've just gone with 2.5 teaspoons of cooking salt. Things like teaspoons and tablespoons I measure because you can scrape it or level it. It's like a less chance of getting something wrong. And then in here I have added, what have I added? Brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of it, and to this I'm going to add 1.5 cups of warm water. Now warm because our little yeasties have been nannies in the fridge, okay, and we need to wake them up, give them a little feed. The warm water activates it, so it wakes them up and says, okay guys, time to do your job. And then the sugar feeds it because yeast needs sugar for it to grow and thrive. So I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna fill this up with water, warm water, 1.5 cups, 360 ml of warm, just tap water, just straight from the tap. And then in 5 minutes time, I'm going to come back on here and turn it on, and hopefully we've got a nice foamy, like flurry of little yeast and sugars activated in here, because that's what you want. If you start this and you have no foam on the top of your foamy water, chuck it out, get some fresh yeast, because yeah, if the yeast isn't foamed, it's not alive, which means it's dead or expired. So very important. I shall be back. Okay, we're back. So some nice little bubbles on the top. My yeast is well and truly alive and loving life. So we're going to add this to the mixer. This here is my beast of a machine. It's an Ancastrum. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that right. I had a Thermomix, but I didn't love it for doing dough, so I sold it and bought one of these instead. And honestly, if you love bread and you love baking large quantities, I bake like 2-3 kilo loaves, and then I on-sell it. So this guy can, I'm pretty sure it's 5 kilos of dough it can mix at one time. So we're going to add the yeasty water into here, and then we've got our flour the 2 types of flour and the salt. So in this goes, oh my gosh, it's very difficult doing this one-handed. Okay, looks delicious. And then we're going to turn this guy on just on a really low speed. So while that's just whizzing, we're then going to slowly add in the flour and the salt. Make sure you get everything. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we're going to knead this for about 1 to 2 minutes on a low speed, just to really incorporate everything together. This is the best. This comes with it, and it is a bowl scraper. So now, if your dough looks a little dry, you can add a smidge of water to it, which is handy. So after 2 minutes, I'll stop it and I will come back. So the recipe says to knead it by hand for 5 to 6 minutes. Can't be bothered. So I've turned the mixer up to medium speed. We're going to knead that for about 5 minutes. You want your dough to be like sort of elastic, so you can stretch it a little bit without it tearing or breaking. If it is tearing still, you want to then pop it back in the dough mixer or keep kneading it. So yeah, you want it to be nice. Let me flip you around. So this is medium speed. And it's been on for a minute, medium speed. So, oh my god, you can't even see. What am I doing? I told you camera work's not my greatest strength. So you really want it to just incorporate everything. And then, yeah, once it's done, after about 5 or so minutes, I will return and I will take it out the bowl and show you what I mean in terms of like the stretch factor. Okay, we're back. This guy has been in the mixer for about 5 minutes. It's nearly done. I just wanted to take it out and just have a bit of a play with it with my hands. So I'm just kneading. Everyone has a different technique of kneading. You can see that it's like so smooth now. I just use my palm, push it forward, fold it. Alternate hands. It's really very therapeutic. I think this is why I love Play-Doh so much. So she's quite sticky, but you can see that it's like super elastic. It's not tearing. You can do the window pane test where you check. So you don't want to over knead it because then it can become dense. But I'm happy with how this is feeling. So I'm going to pop it into a really well-oiled bowl and then cover it. It's quite like humid today, so usually you can cover it for like let it rise for about 1 to 2 hours, just depending on I can't like lift the camera up because my hands are dirty. Let me try, hold on. No, it's just not working, so I just bobbed down. So I'm going to leave it for about an hour and a half. I'll see. You want it to double in size. You want there to be a lot of gas from the yeast and it to be, yeah, nice and like airy, I guess. And then we're going to punch the dough out and then move on to the next step. But for now, this guy's going to have a little rest. Okay, we are back. It's been about an hour. This has doubled in size. Which is amazing. So we're going to punch the air out of it and we're going to dump it on the board and chop it into 8ths. So let me flip you around. So just going to pop you there. Let's angle, okay, I think that's as far as the camera can go down. So I like to just wet my hands a little bit so the dough doesn't stick. It is quite oiled, but just to be certain. Oh yeah. Okay. So just pop that there. Just gently press it out. Now we want to put that side down. Now I'm just going to grab a knife. You're going to cut this into 8s and then we're going to roll them into balls. So let me just grab a knife. So I like to, you can use a bench scraper or like a bowl scraper if you've got one. I think I'm just going to do 6. I quite like my bagels like big on the bigger side because we fill them. I like putting egg and cheese and bacon. So I'm just going to divide them. Oh my god, that's slippery. Into 6s instead of 8s. So 1, 2, 3. But it's totally up to you. You can do 8 if you want. If you'd rather them like small and bite size, you can do, I don't know, 10. Totally up to you. With baking, I find you just do what works best for you. So I'm just gonna roll them into balls. They will puff up, so these will be quite big. I've made bagels so many times and every single time they're different. Even if I'm like I consistently follow a recipe. I've actually not done this recipe before, so it'll be interesting to see how I find these. I just like have in my mind this type of bagel that I want. I've never been to America, but I just feel like the ones I've made aren't ticking the boxes. So we've got 6 balls of dough. You just want to gently break a hole, and then you want to just sort of squeeze it into this sort of shape. Okay, and then I'm going to do that 6 times, and then I'm going to stick them onto, it's very hard to do with oily hands on camera. I'm then going to stick these onto a baking tray, probably 2 because they're going to puff up quite a lot, and I'm going to let them rest for half an hour. So once they've done that, I will come back and show you what they look like. Okay, I've had to turn the range hood off because it is the noisiest range hood of all times. So it has been about 15 minutes since I formed the bagels, in the dough into the bagel shape. Excuse me. Now this bit is the fun bit. I quite like doing this. I'm going to flip you around and I'll show you my little station that I've prepped. So my oven is on. I actually am very lucky and fortunate enough because I do a lot of baking. I have a steam oven, so hence why this is getting all dimmy inside. The steam just really helps it. So these are the bagels. Okay, they've risen nicely. They're still going to rise for another about 15 or so minutes. I've got my, let me just tip you down a bit. I've got my egg wash and my very fancy pastry brush, aka clean paintbrush. My bagel seasoning, which is ready. And I've got my pot of water with 1/4 of a cup of, I've just put raw sugar in there. You can use brown sugar, white sugar, whatever, honey if you don't want to use sugar, maple syrup, I guess, anything just to sweeten the water. But I've just opted to do 1/4 of a cup of raw sugar. So basically, I can't film this because it's just going to be so darn noisy with the range hood on. I can maybe, actually I'll film it, but I'll turn the range hood off whilst I'm doing one batch. So essentially you're going to take these bagels, float them in the water, boil them for about 30 seconds either side. You're going to then put them back on the tray, egg wash them, and then season them with your everything seasoning. You can do plain, you can do sesame, you can do poppy, whatever floats your boat, honestly. And then they're going to go in the oven for about 25 minutes. Now this is on 210. The recipe says 220. To be honest, this isn't like a bake along with me video. This is more of just like, I guess, I don't know, like a vlog, like a bake bagels with me vlog. I just wing. I go on intuition. Like, I don't know what else to say. Look, I'll list the recipe. Actually, I'm going to flip you around. Screenshot this. Do as you please. This is from Knife Drop, which is Nick DiGiovanni. I really hope I didn't butcher your name, mate. But I'm just going to show you the screen. I'm going to flip you around, show you the screen. Screenshot it if you would like to follow the recipe. Do that. Do it. Just bake with your intuition. Bake with your gut. That's how I do it. And probably 95% of the time, no. Do you know what? 99% of the time, it never fails. So here it is. I don't know if you can see that. This could be an epic fail. But just like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, the light. Oh my lord. I told you, technology is not exactly my strong point. I don't know if you can see that. Let's just lift the camera down. All right, there we go. That page, and then this page. Just like, I don't know, screenshot it, zoom in. If you decide that you want the recipe, just comment in the comments and I can pop it into the description box if that's what everyone wants. Okay, we're at a rolling boil. I've turned the range hood off. I'm just going to show you. I actually added 1 tablespoon of bicarb soda or baking soda to my water, and that just helps with the bubbles and stuff. So I've chopped up my parchment paper to just a square each, and now I'm going to carefully, I'm going to do 2 at a time because they're large. Okay, so now we're going to count to 30. I've got the timer on here. So 30 seconds, and then I'm going to use my slotted spoon to flip them round. If you've got like a little net, you can use a net. I mean, you could probably even use like a fork or tongs. Just use whatever you've got. I just find this is easier, especially for when we're fishing them out. So I've got a couple more seconds. I have like the worst hot plate in the whole world. Okay, so we're going to flip them. That's 1. Oh my gosh. Come on, flip, mate. 2. So we've got another 30 seconds. This is what they're looking like. I'm only going to show you just these 2 because it's really steamy in here without the range hood on. So yeah, once they're off, I'm going to scoop them back onto here and put them on the parchment paper, and then I'll film the next step for you. Okay, we are back. We are boiled. Now, we're going to use our little eggy wash, and I know if you have a bigger brush, it takes way less time. But, you know, just rolling with what we've got. Don't worry, this is clean. My children have not painted with this. So we're just coating the bagels with an egg. So some people like to do egg with water. Some people like to use just egg whites. I just use a whole egg and I just give it a whisk. I just, as I said, do my own thing. I know people say baking is like a science and should be precise, but I like to be a free spirit. Okay, I'm going to just stop you because this, I'm guessing, is not riveting content. And I will show you once I put my everything seasoning on. My oven is ready too, so 2 seconds. Okay, I'm very heavy-handed when it comes to seasoning. I think it's very important. So we've seasoned them. We're going to pop them in the oven. I'm not going to show you because steam is going to encapsulate you. But yes, these are huge. This is just what I wanted. I wanted to experience like a big size bagel. So yes, I will show you. They're going in the oven for about 25 minutes and then I will show you what they look like when they're cooked. Okay, we are out of the oven. Yes, we are. Here are these bagels. They are perfect. They're golden. I took them out with about a minute left to go because we like to toast ours. And so they get a bit more crispier, and I don't want a really tough bagel. But, whoo, look at that. They are the perfect size. I'm so glad I did them in 6ths instead of 8ths. But yeah, I'm super stoked with that. I can't wait to try them. But yes, let me just flip you around. But yeah, thank you for coming on this little vlogging journey with me. This is the first time I've sort of done something like this. But yeah, please don't think this is a tutorial on how to bake. As I said, I bake with intuition. Excuse me. And I'm terrible at editing, so what you see is basically what you're going to get and what I have filmed. I'm not going to be cutting anything out because I don't know how to do that. So that's why I like doing this. I keep it real. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, subscribe. If you don't, keep living your life. Have a great day, and I will probably see you next time. See ya.